Hey everyone, my name's Ty. This is my garage. This is why it's just called Ty's Garage. On my engine stand I have a Subaru engine. I want to go over this engine before we start building it, just so you kind of have an idea of what this thing is and why it might be different from other engines you've seen before. First of all, let's just start right off. If you know anything about Subaru engines, you know that they're boxer engines. Whereas my Mustang has a V6, the cylinders are oriented in a V pattern, and the Cavalier has a 4-cylinder inline engine wherein all the cylinders are in a line. This engine is a horizontally opposed 4-cylinder engine. It has 4 cylinders that are horizontally opposed. They're called a boxer because the pistons move in and out much like a boxer's fists would. Very unique design. You don't see a lot of these in the American market. You really don't see a lot of these in any market. Globally, internationally, American, what have you. I really like the design of this engine. I think it's kind of neat. It's just kind of different. This engine came out of a 1997 Subaru Legacy. It's the 2.5 liter, what they call the EJ25D engine. Phase 1 engine, one of the first 2.5 liter engines Subaru put out. This is the one that's given Subaru their reputation for head gaskets. If you've ever heard about Subarus and head gaskets, this is the engine that did it. The reason was, from my understanding, is they just simply didn't have a thick enough, bulletproof enough head gasket from the factory. If you put better than stock head gaskets on this engine, you usually have nothing to worry about. This block is entirely aluminum. This is the short block. There's no heads, just pistons, crankshaft, crankcase, and that's about all there is to it. This engine is light enough that I can lift it by myself. I've taken it to and from work to kind of get approval from my boss and a couple other guys that just make sure it's good to build. When you put the heads on it, it's not as lightweight, obviously, because it's got heads. Heads are also aluminum. Altogether, I'd say this short block probably weighs about 50 pounds. Add the heads, you're probably up to about 25 pounds. 2 people can easily lift this thing around without the use of an engine crane, but of course putting it in the car, you're going to need something a bit more precise than you and 2 of your drunk buddies. This one was off an automatic. It's not really going to matter. You still have the flex plate on it, but that'll come off eventually. What we're going to be doing with this engine is actually we're not just rebuilding it, we're making a Frankenstein engine of sorts. You can see this all throughout the Subaru forums. Basically what guys are doing is they're taking the 2.5 liter block and they're adding heads from either a 2.2 liter or even a 1.8 liter engine. The idea behind this is it's just increasing your compression ratio much higher than you get out of a stock 2.5 or a 2.2 or a 1.8. Because we're going to be running this in the stage rally car, we can't run turbo for a few years. We want to get every bit of power that we can out of a naturally aspirated block. So that's the way we're going to go about it. I have no idea how well it's going to work. I don't know what kind of compression this engine has. It came off of a car that had roughly 170,000 miles. It looked like the head gaskets had already been done once. We pulled the head gaskets off and they were the 4-layer, multi-layer steel, which was the recall OEM fix. So very well could have been a well-maintained engine. The antifreeze came out green, oil came out brown. That doesn't necessarily mean the pistons aren't worn down a little bit, the piston rings namely. That doesn't mean it's going to have every bit of compression that we want out of it. It's going to be better than it was. This is the first time I've ever built an engine, so if this thing blows up, it could be me, it could be the engine, it could be any number of things, and that's why we're documenting it. We want to be able to make sure that it wasn't me, and so we can do it again. And obviously, as far as we've seen, we haven't seen any video log building one of these from the block up, so that's what we're going to be doing over the course of the next few videos. So yeah, stick around. Hopefully this 2.5 liter / 2.2 liter engine will put down the horsepower we need, get us a good compression ratio, and we'll actually be putting, the goal is roughly 200 horse out of the back of this block. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Thanks.